Hi, I like to learn new things. And what I've learned recently is that there are different kinds of wrapping paper for birthdays and Christmases. There are even different kinds of wrapping paper for Christmas alone. I know! And then of course you need different kinds of ribbons in different kinds of colors because those need to be in contrast with that variation in gift wrapping paper. And that also applies for pens and sticky thingies you put on the side to write on, because God forbid you just write straight on the wrapping paper without putting an extra layer of paper on first. And then of course you have the tape. Clear tape, frosted tape, tape with hearts on them, reindeers, Santa Claus, fairies, pumpkins, you name it. And then if you're a professional gift wrapper, you also have these wax seals with the accompanying vast array of stamps. And then finally you have the gift bags, because you can't just wrap a gift and call it a day. No, you need an accompanying bag to put it in. And that adds up to a lot. I'm even afraid to go down to our cupboard now without notifying the local avalanche search and rescue team. So I built a box. So, here we are. Now if you as a YouTuber sometimes venture into the realm that is woodworking, you need to make a box. Hey, that's just the way it is. I don't make the rules. But last winter I made a Gatling gun. So what I thought now is I'd take some of those experiences and use them in this project. Because nothing says dispensing like a Gatling gun. So I started up by buying enough broomsticks to get me burned at the town square if this was a couple of 100 years ago. Now, given some of my other projects, there are probably other things that would make me a prime suspect for the Inquisition, but let's not go there. Now at this point, I only had a vague plan in my head. The leading design factor for the entire project was the standard width of a roll of wrapping paper. And here you can see me using the same design principle as I'm always using, DAG, which is design as you go. And what I do is I pre-drill all the holes because this is gonna be a completely screwed project. Not in a metaphorical sense, I hope, but at least until it's finished, I'm hoping to use only screws so that if I screw something up, 2 for 2 there, I'll be able to go back and redo aspects of it. Since I don't have any plan, that would be a wise thing to do, I think. And since I'm using kinda thin plywood, it's always nice to see that everything is not too square. And here you can see the discs that are gonna hold the individual rolls of wrapping paper. Now I made these on my CNC, but you could easily knock these out with a Forstner bit and a handsaw. It would just take forever. For the locking wheel, I went to the hardware store and got some hardware, I guess. And then I ground off the holder thingamabob so I could fabricate my own to glue it in place. And of course, there is no way around it. There's some sanding here as well. I'm not focusing on the finish here, but I really don't like to get splinters. So there's that. And here you can see me trying to make some spools for the various kinds of ribbons. But to be honest, I didn't really like the way it turned out. They looked a lot nicer in my head than after I glued them up. So we'll see if I keep them or not. And yes, the bearing in my heater is, well, it's seen better days.
But despite of that, the parts for the internal boxes are now hot off the press. Or the CNC to be more precise. And as you can see, I'm applying screws here as well, because there will probably be some modifications before they find their final form and function. And then I use an aluminium rod for the spools of ribbons. And here you just see me measuring out how long it's gonna be before I do the final cut. Where I actually cut the video short because I screwed it up and had to redo it. So here it is. The box for the spools of ribbons. Still not happy about those spools, but at least they work. They have the same diameter for the outer rings, so no matter how many layers of ribbons you have on them, they will always have the same outer diameter so that they will break against the wall, not unspooling themselves into a mess. And to allow the internal boxes to sit flush upon the lid and also allow for a larger room underneath for the gift bags and whatnot, I mount some rails. And then some more splinter protection measurements. And believe it or not, these rails I'm fairly certain on, so I'm just taking a leap of faith and just gluing them in from the beginning. Am I gonna regret it later? Probably. If you think I designed this box so that the smallest drill I have will actually fit inside it, then you've been fooled. Because this was just dumb luck. This was actually not a part of the original design as I pictured it in my head. But the locking wheel and the turning wheel on the other side sticks out a bit. And I'm planning on putting this box up on a shelf, and I don't want them to hook on anything, so I made these spacers to make them more protected. And by dumb luck again, it looks kinda nice. As you may have noticed, throughout the project, the confidence has grown stronger. So yet again I'm using glue and crossing my fingers I'll never have to take it apart again. There is a saying in the woodworking community that you can never have enough clamps. But in this case, turns out I had just the perfect amount. But don't tell anyone that. Clamps. And here you can see me using someone's broken New Year's resolution to hold down the workpiece while the glue dries. This is kinda self-explanatory, I think. Just putting on some latches to keep the lid on. After I started doing voiceovers on my own videos, I realized I laugh a lot. Mostly from dumb shit, but sometimes because I'm pleased with myself. And on the rare occasion, maybe a bit of both. And by this point, no one's getting points for guessing that I'm gonna use red at some point in the project. Upon completion, it was time to test to see if everything fits. Turns out, it didn't. We had a lot more packing paraphernalia than I could ever imagine. So I guess some of that needs to go into deep storage. Because let's face it, by the end of the day, you would like to be able to lift it. If I'm gonna be honest, the thing I was most pleased about with this project was the name, the Wrapido 2000. 'Cause 2000. And that's a wrap. Oh, did I wait long for that one? Weeks. So worth it. So worth it.